Hello everybody, this is the iFan channel here, and today I'm actually going to leave Barcelona and go all the way to, you guessed it, Monaco. But instead of sleeping at Monaco, because Monaco is extremely expensive, why not I'd actually sleep at Antibes in France. Well, as you can see, Antibes is reasonably close to Monaco, basically about an hour away, so I could enjoy my time in Monaco and then go back to Nice, which is actually a resort town in France. One of the biggest cities in the country, and essentially the biggest city in the Riviera, only after, I believe, Marseille, but who knows if Marseille really counts. So why not I'm actually going to sleep here to save some money. Well, as you can see, these are some of the hotel prices in Monaco. They're quite expensive. So therefore, I'm actually going to go to the train station now. Actually, to the bus station, and I'm going to take the bus to Montpellier, and then I'm going to take the train, the SNCF, from Montpellier all the way to Antibes. So I'll see you guys at the bus station. Okay guys, I just arrived to the Mataro bus station close to my hotel. As you can see, I'm now waiting for the bus to actually get all the way to Barcelona, and then I'm going to walk to the Barcelona North station, where I'm actually going to go all the way to Montpellier. I just got off the intercity bus, and due to the fact I do have time, therefore I'm actually going to eat McDonald's. As you can see, basically 2 chicken sandwiches, 1 hamburger and 1 small fries, and it is now around 10 a.m. as you can see. So basically I do have time, like about 50 minutes before having to go to Montpellier. So see you guys on the bus, the Flixbus. After eating McDonald's, I finally arrived at the bus station, and ironically the bus is actually 30 minutes late, even though I actually arrived 1 minute after 10:50, and I thought I was late. In fact, because I thought I was late, I do have extremely bad temper. In fact, I actually even lashed out on a train station, actually at the metro, which made everybody stare at me. It is absolutely insane how it's not me that is late, but rather the bus that is late, which is so fortunate. Okay guys, I just got on the bus. It has been an hour since I got on the bus, and as you can see, these are the things I've missed in Barcelona. But don't worry, because I'm actually planning to return to Barcelona next year. Yes, I'm not even joking. It is really expensive in Barcelona, and unfortunately I've missed several tourist attractions, but I'm really scared I might miss out on the Last Supper in Milan. I'm not joking, because when I saw the tickets, it has been sold out all through the summer, basically for the next 2 months. I'm not even joking, so you had to book months in advance, essentially. After nearly 2 hours, I finally arrived at the French border. I'm not even joking. As you can see, the scenery is absolutely spectacular. This is actually the Pyrenees mountains over here, as you can see. And basically in, I think, about 2.5 or 3 hours or something, I'll be in Montpellier. So stay tuned. I do really adore this scenery so much. It's absolutely spectacular. Now it's about 1:50, and unfortunately we do have to stop at Perpignan because we do have to pick up some more people. So basically I'm actually going to see you guys in Montpellier. I don't know when I'll arrive at Montpellier, but I think around 4:30. But as you can see, I do have to leave for Antibes at around 17:40, which is around 5:40. So basically I do have to rush when I'm in Montpellier. After about 5 hours on the bus, because of the time limits the bus driver could drive, which is actually 4 hours, I finally arrived in Montpellier, which is the 7th largest city in France. Basically I'm now going to head to the Saint-Roch station. I'm going to look for food there for dinner, and I'm going to take the train, the SNCF, all the way to Antibes. So see you guys then. After a while on a streetcar, I finally arrived in the center of Montpellier, and as you can see, there's so many things in Montpellier that actually resemble Paris, including the architecture of the buildings. As you can see, some of the buildings do look quite similar. And fun fact about Montpellier, the streetcar, as you can see there, is free for all residents, but costs €1.60 per ride for non-residents. And this change has been implemented around 4 months ago, basically late winter of last year. So why not? I'm just gonna go around and maybe look for some food to eat before taking the train all the way to Antibes. Now, because the 20 minutes remaining until the train to Marseille arrive, yes, I'm actually going to Marseille and then using Marseille station to actually transfer all the way to Antibes. I actually decided to eat at the station. I actually bought McDonald's over here. It is essentially a large fries as well as Big Mac. So when I'm actually going to eat, and I'm going to see you guys on the train. I'm now currently on the train. As you can see, this is what the SNCF looks like. I'm actually going to go towards Marseille and then I'm going to see you guys when I'm in Marseille. After about 2 hours, I finally arrived in Marseille and now I'm going to take the TGV Inouï all the way to Antibes. As you can see, the destination is actually Nice, but instead I'm actually stopping at Antibes. Over here is the train to Antibes. As you can see, this is actually Inouï TGV, a different train here. As you can see, the seats are quite different and the seat layout, and I do have some leg room, as you can see, but unfortunately the table is not as big as the previous one, so why not? I'm going to see you guys at Antibes. After about 2 hours riding on the SNCF Inouï, I finally arrived at, you guessed it, Antibes. I'm now waiting for the bus, which would actually get me to a hotel, actually called B&B Hotel Juan Le Prin. So why not? I'll see you guys there. Basically, I've waited at least 30 minutes for the bus, and because there's no bus coming, therefore I'm just gonna take a boat, which is basically an equivalent to Uber. As Uber is quite expensive, I found out Uber is like 15 euros, but boat only really charges 6 euros. Okay guys, I just took a boat to this hotel, B&B Antibes Juan Le Prin, and as you can see, this is what the room looks like. It is quite nice and minimalistic, and if you were to go into the restroom, this is what the restroom looks like, quite minimalistic, but does have everything you need. Basically a shower and stuff, and a sink, and of course a toilet, and of course a bed, and a TV, so you basically have all your essentials. I'm gonna be staying here for 2 nights, so why not? I'm actually gonna see you guys tomorrow. Good morning guys, I'm currently out of my hotel. I'm now heading towards the Juan Le Prin train station so I can get all the way to Monaco, which is the wealthiest country in Europe. I'm not even joking. One of the wealthiest countries in the whole world. Basically, Monaco would be on par with Liechtenstein, which is another country in Europe. Basically, the only doubly landlocked country in Europe and the only doubly landlocked country in the world other than Uzbekistan. After about an hour on the train, I finally arrived in Monaco, basically the Monte Carlo station, and now I'm actually going to look for some lunch as I'm quite hungry. I've not ate since about 4:30 p.m. As you can see, this is actually the Monaco station over here. So why not? I'm actually going to look for some food. Basically, after about 45 minutes just walking around Monaco, I finally found a restaurant. I do believe it is actually Gruber's Burgers, yes. I actually paid around 17 euros 40 cents for my meal. Unfortunately, even though there is a McDonald's in Monaco, it is quite far, and unfortunately, if I were to get self-service, I do have to pay roaming, unfortunately. As Monaco is not part of the EU, and since I'm a prepaid phone member, therefore I do have to pay per megabyte every time I were to roam in Monaco. So I try to limit my Wi-Fi consumption a bit. And it's quite unfortunate because Monaco is absolutely spectacular. In fact, 30% of its population are millionaires. And for a city of 40,000 people, there are actually 3 billionaires. I'm not even joking. 3 billionaires. Also, I do believe only about 30% of Monaco's population is born in Monaco. I'm not even joking. And 70% are born abroad, making Monaco have some of the highest immigrant percentage in the whole world. Also, Monaco does have some of the highest property values in the whole world of any country. Basically comparable with some of the most expensive parts of New York and Singapore and stuff, and Hong Kong. And also, the city, less than 1 square mile, has 40,000 people. So the density is around 50,000 per square mile, which is absolutely insane. Basically on par with some of the densest neighborhoods in Boston. Basically, after about 5 minutes waiting, this is what I have. Basically a cheeseburger, as well as, you guessed it, fries and hot dogs. So basically quite expensive, but quite comparable to Applebee's as well. Basically, after eating lunch, I'm actually going to go all the way to the Palais Pensier, which is actually the Princes Palace. I'm not joking. It is all the way up this steep cliff. I'm not even joking. Over there. As you can see, I'm now going to walk all the way up and then hopefully go to the cathedral as well as you get to the casino later on in the day. But I'm not sure where I'll eat dinner, if I'll eat in Monaco or if I'll eat in Nice. After a long and excruciating climb, I'm finally near the top of the Princes Palace. As you can see, I'm now heading towards the Princes Palace now, and yeah, in fact, I do believe this extends several hundred meters at least above sea level, as Monaco is quite close to the sea anyways. But as you can see, I'm now finally at the top, and I do think this is actually the Princes Palace. So I'm going to go in to see what it's all about. Now, even though this is an excruciating climb to get all the way up here, you do see the spectacular skyline of Monaco, as you can see. And I do believe this is the location where the Grand Prix takes place. And also, there's so many yachts, yes. In fact, there are tons of multi-millionaires and billionaires, just like I said. 3 billionaires in a city of 40,000 people, I'm not even joking. So of course, there'll be a lot of yachts everywhere. Basically, many of these yachts, I do believe, are owned by oligarchs. But I'm not sure how many Russian oligarchs live in Monaco. As I do know, many Russian oligarchs do love to own yachts. But as you can see over there is the casino. Yes, there's actually a casino in Monaco. And why not, let's head to the castle. As you guys all know, Monaco is near the Mediterranean, so of course there'll be very good weather all year round, despite being of the same latitude as cities like Boston and stuff, which are quite cold during the winter. Not only could you see the scenery all the way from that side, you could actually see from this side as well, and they're both stunning. As you can see the mountains from here, as well as you guessed it, the oceans. I really can't believe it. So why not, I'm actually going to enter the palace. I actually did buy the palace plus the car collection because I do love cars, and I think I would spot a lot of cars, as I did spot several Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Astons, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, G-Wagons, and all these luxurious cars. I also spotted several Tesla Model 3 Highlands. Yeah, I've only seen like one per day in like Boston, if I'm lucky, maybe once every several days, but I never see twice a day ever in Boston. I just entered the palace, and let's take a look around. As you can see, it is quite fancy. This is actually a 16th century room, by the way, and if you were to go in here, you would actually see some more details. And from what I see over here, these are actually part of the Grimaldi family. And I do believe the Grimaldi family actually resides in Monaco, and I do think they're actually the ruling class of Monaco during the 16th century. After walking about one more room, I do believe this is a typical 16th century room inside of the palace. Basically, after the first two rooms, we approach the 17th century over here. As you can see, some of the paintings look like the 17th and 18th centuries, and I do believe these are actually paintings of, you guessed it, the city of Venice. Actually, this is the St. Mark's Campanile and St. Mark's Square, and you could actually see the Doge's Palace over there, which I actually visited last year. And if you were to go in here, you would actually find more royals, yeah. Basically, many of these are probably princes or maybe part of the royal family of Monaco during the time. And you could actually read over here. In fact, based on the topology, it actually shows the princes. As you can see, this is actually 17th century all the way to a more modern era. And if you were to go all the way here, you would actually see some very modern people, including what I believe is Prince Rainier, which is all the way up there, and Prince Albert II, who is the current prince. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really have any internet access, so I could not really tell if it's correct. But over here is actually Prince Albert II, and over here is Princess Charlene. I do believe this room is actually a 19th century room over here. As you can see, 19th century figures. This is actually the room of Albert I, and over here is the room of Rainier III, which was the late prince who actually died in 2005. As you can see, just take a look around, and you could actually see a lot more modern figures over here. And this is actually the Artist of Monaco. And if you want to go in here, this is actually the library, La Bibliothèque. with a ton of books ranging from all types of centuries. I really don't know how long these books are or how far back they go, but as you can see, this I do believe is a very big book. I do believe it might be a gallery of some sort. Actually, it's the Amazon, as you can see, Amazonia. And if you were to go through a few more rooms, as you can see, this is a typical living room in a palace, quite fancy with some ornate frescoes, as well as even more fancy in the bedroom. I'm not even joking. This is what a bed looks like, basically full of gold and exquisite materials. Basically, this would be crazy even in a billionaire's house. But as you can see, many other royal families do have bedrooms similar to this. I've been to some castles even in Budapest, in Prague, as well as Warsaw, and Vienna, and Paris, London. They all look like this. As you can see, this is a typical dining room here. And I do believe, but I'm not sure, this is actually another living plus bedroom accommodation over here, which is absolutely crazy. It says Chambre Valentinois over here. I just left the palace, and why not, I'm actually going to head towards the St. Nicholas's Cathedral. Basically, there's a lot of amazing things in the palace, and even though it's small, I do believe it's quite an okay deal, especially given the fact it's Monaco. In fact, the Chambon Palace actually costs double that of the Monaco Palace, but in reality, the Chambon Palace does not really allow any pictures or videos, unfortunately. Basically, after a several minute walk, I finally arrived at, you guessed it, the cathedral, St. Nicholas's Cathedral, which is the main cathedral of Monaco. As you guys can see, over here is Le Palais de Justice, which I do believe is the judicial center, and over here is actually the St. Nicholas's Cathedral. So why not? I'm entering this cathedral. Okay guys, over here is the cathedral. As you can see, basically it's quite charming, but unlike many cathedrals in Spain or France or Italy, unfortunately there's no roof frescoes, but it's still quite nice nonetheless. Basically, this cathedral is actually free, unlike many Spanish cathedrals, which do cost 5 or 10 euros or something. Basically, after going to the cathedral, why not I'd stop by Jardin Saint-Martin Espace Végétal Écologique. I don't know how much it costs, but let's see. I do think it's free, however, as I do not see any ticketers. But here it is. This is actually what the ecological garden looks like. Essentially a botanical garden in some way or another. In this garden, you definitely see a plant. As you can see, I do believe this is actually Wolema nobilis, which was actually discovered 30 years ago. And you can actually see another plant over here. I do believe so. And it says Frangipani Australian or native Frangipani. Basically, I do believe Le Jardin Écologique meant botanical garden. And here's some more plants. As you can see, they're basically a lot, and there's also restrooms as well, public toilets, yes. And I do believe these are actually two people mating each other. Oh, sorry, there's actually a van, and this is actually a water fountain. Not only would you find exotic trees or plants, you would actually also see fake cacti. I'm not joking. Over there is actually cactus. And if you were to go down here, you would actually see more stuff, including, you guessed it, the Monterey cypress, which is actually based in California. You would also see various night statues as well, and an array of more plants. Over here is La Musée Oceanographique, which I do believe is an aquarium of some sort, but I think aquariums are quite expensive, and therefore I'm not going to go in. So why not? I'm just going somewhere else. I'm now on my way to the private car collection, and over here is another view of Monaco. As you can see, over there is definitely the casino, and if you want to see more clearly, over there does say Qatar Airways. Qatar, just like Monaco, is amongst the wealthiest countries in the world as well. And basically I'm now going to walk this way to the car collection, which is closer to sea level. After about 10 minutes finding where the collection is, I finally arrived. As you can see, la collection les automobiles de SAS les Princes de Monaco. So basically I'm actually going to go in and see what it is all about. And I might see a lot of cars, as Prince Rainier and Prince Albert do own a ton of cars, as you guys all know. Not as much as the Sultan of Brunei, but a lot of cars. So why not, I'm actually going to go in. And when you go in, you'll actually be greeted to, I do believe this is one of the royals of Monaco, as well as helmets. And you do see several cars here, including some racing cars. This is actually a Ferrari over here, I do believe so. And over here, even more cars. So basically the first thing is you gotta go downstairs, but then you're greeted to some really old cars, as well as, you guessed it, over there is actually the Ferrari Daytona and the Porsche 908, which is actually in two-tone. And you also see some smaller cars as well. I do believe that's a Renault 4V, actually 4CV, kind of like the Citroën 2CV. And you do see even this, which I do believe is actually a Velocipede, but I'm not really sure. It is actually the Super B2 cycle car from 1913. Not only would you see classic cars, but you would also see classic American cars. Basically cars ranging from just about every era. So you have this car, which is from 1934. And then you have this one, which I do believe actually came from 1954. And you also see what I do believe is a Chrysler Imperial, a classic American car. And you actually see even more here. This is actually a Cadillac Series 6700 limousine Fleetwood. And basically it could go up to 190 kilometers an hour. And you also see this as well, which I do believe is some type of Chrysler for sale. I do believe so. But if you were to go here, you actually see the iconic 2CV. Not only does Prince Rainier have a fondness for American cars, he also had a fondness for Italian cars. As you can see, this is actually Ferrari, and this is, I do believe, an Alfa Romeo of some sort. This is actually an Alfa Romeo Giulia Spider. And over here is a 1956 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud Berlin. In fact, the collection does not stop here. In fact, this is actually a Maserati Mistral. And over there is actually an Isetta, which is actually a microcar designed for the city. And it does have a quirky door situation where you basically cannot park in the garage because the door actually opens like this. Basically, the door hinge is located in the front instead of in the side. So you basically do have to park in some more convenient place to actually even get out of it, as this car does not even have reverse. And over here is actually a Testarossa, and this is actually the Countach, very iconic. And this is actually the Mura, which was the predecessor to the Countach. And over here is the famous 300 SL Go-Wing, and over here is an older 220A. You even see mini cars like this Voiture Due, which is actually a toy car, I do believe is for the children. And this is actually a Citroën of some type. Actually, it is the DS3. And this is actually the Toyota Yaris WRC, which of course is much newer than any of these cars I've seen so far, as many of these cars came from like the 20th century. This actually only came from 3 years ago. Yes, 3 years ago. So basically more recent than any Yaris in the US, as the Yaris was discontinued in the US and Canada as of 2020. And of course you also find out a Mitsubishi Pajero, as well as, you guessed it, an older Porsche 911, which still looks iconic to this day. I'm now finally upstairs, and as you can see upstairs it does show some Formula 1 racing cars, as well as World Rallycross cars as well. And basically I do believe this is actually an F1 Lamborghini 291. And over here is actually some Peugeot of some type, I do think a 205 Turbo 16. And over there is actually the Lancia 037. And over here is definitely the M1, the very rare and coveted M1. Well, most of you guys have heard of like M3, M5, but you might not have heard the M1. And that's because it's so rare. But the M135i is definitely for sale, and you can get that. And over here are some more Formula 1 cars. This is the SF70, and there's actually a greater variety. than I would imagine here. Basically a ton of race cars. And have you even noticed these are actually listed by year? I'm not even joking. As you can see, 2001, 2002, 2003, and then 2004 over here. And of course you'll see a string of more cars until basically the very end of the museum. I just exited the automobile collection of the Prince of Monaco, and wow, it is absolutely crazy for the Prince of Monaco to actually own so many exotic cars ranging from different years, basically from the early to late 20th century. Insane. Basically, if the Sultan of Brunei's car collection were to open sometime in like 50 to 100 years, we might see thousands upon thousands of cars, because the Sultan of Brunei not only collected a lot of exotic cars, he actually have cars made just for him. In fact, there are actually 20 Bentley SUVs that were just made for him and at his possession currently. But many of them are currently rotting due to mold and stuff, and not much climate regulations, unfortunately. After about several minutes walking, I finally arrived at, you guessed it, the Monte Carlo Casino over here. This is actually an exquisite building. Why not? I'm actually going to enter, but I'm not going to gamble, of course, because I don't want to lose money. And I know gambling, like, mostly would lose money, just like lotteries. And basically in a casino, you'll be greeted to several luxury cars on its own. Basically, you do have a lot of luxury cars here, as well as exotic cars and classic cars. As you can see, that is actually a Bentley Continental GT. Over here is actually also another Continental GT as well. And this is actually a Ferrari, a G-Wagon, basically an AMG version, which is even higher class. A Flying Spur over here, and a Range Rover. We basically do see a lot of luxury cars essentially everywhere, even more than Dubai, where I rarely see any luxury cars. And here is an older G-Wagon. Basically, you do see a lot of exotic cars. I do believe this is actually an Aston Martin of some sorts. And you also see Rolls Royces as well. Over there's a Cullinan. And you see Porsche 911. Basically, you do see an array of luxury cars. Unfortunately, the casino does not let us record. However, we do get to go to the first room for free, but the second room of the Monte Carlo casino, you do have to pay 20 euros, which is quite expensive for a casino, yeah. So why not, I'm just going to go out, but the casino does look absolutely amazing, even more so than many of Las Vegas's casinos, which is an artificial city. I'm now currently at La Metropole shopping center, which I do believe is actually the city's shopping center. Basically kind of like Boston has Prudential, New York does have Oculus, as well as Midtown, and LA does have several shopping centers. Well, this is actually Monaco shopping center over here, kind of like the Lafayette in Paris. Now last stop for today, why not we meet Princess Grace's Japanese garden over here. Here's the entrance, and after going into the entrance, here is a map. As you can see, I think we're currently at, I believe, 10. Because it does say Mediterranean, so we're trying to get into 1. And as you can see, there are basically a lot of Japanese details here. But wait until you go more, you actually see even more in this spectacular city, of course, with of course a mountain. Basically, there's also a bridge and a lot of flowers and trees as well. And if you were to go here, this is actually a Japanese style house. Unfortunately, this house is reserved for events, but as you can see, there are lots of ornaments and details around here in, of course, a Japanese style. Basically, this is for Princess Grace, of course, who basically died several decades ago, I do believe so. But as you can see, this is quite nice over here. And if we were to go up here, we would actually see this. Why not? I'm just gonna sit at this pavilion and just take a look at the scenery for a bit. Over here you would find what is kind of like a Japanese white pine, but unfortunately we cannot go to this building as well. As you can see, basically we're only bound to like the outside, but you could actually see some of the nice scenery around here. And I do believe that's the exit, but really the botanical garden is really free. But it's absolutely amazing, given you got some gardens really nice ones for free. You can't even do so in Dubai. Now that I've exited the Japanese garden, why not I'd show you guys the housing prices in Monaco. They're absolutely insane. In fact, I actually saw a 60 square meter, basically 650 square feet, $4 million. I'm not even joking. In Cambridge, it's around 700,000, 600,000, but even that is so expensive because in most cities in the US, a 2,000 square foot house will cost about $400,000. It's absolutely insane for a, like, essentially 2-bedroom or even 1-bedroom to cost $4 million. Basically, this 2,300 square foot house would cost around 13 million US dollars, 11.8 million euros. Crazy, nearly 12 million euros for a house like this. Essentially just an apartment. These are basically like Manhattan prices. And check this, even for rents, these two apartments are really expensive. Basically around 4,300 euros, basically nearly or a bit greater than 4,500 US dollars per month. Is absolutely crazy for about like 525 square feet, which is insane. Basically, even in Kenmore Square, Cambridge, apartments don't go for that expensive, even the big ones. Basically, for that price, you would get somewhere around 700 or 800 square feet. Basically, after a 20 to 25 minute walk, I finally arrived at the station, and over here is, you guessed it, the train. This is the train I'm going to be taking. And why not, I'm actually going to go into the train. And here we go, entering the train. Basically, it is extremely crowded. I don't know if I could even find a spot, but why not? I'm actually going to enter the train now to Antibes. Okay guys, I'm now currently on a train. I'm gonna see you guys when I arrive at Antibes because I'm not gonna stop by Nice for this trip. I've now just got out of the train, and as you can see, this is actually the Carrefour City, which is the local supermarket. I did buy some water, and this is actually Antibes Center. Over here, I'm actually going to look for something to eat, and then I'm going to return to the hotel. But Antibes is quite amazing. So basically, because a lot of the food in Antibes is very expensive, therefore I'm actually eating here, which is at a Vietnamese restaurant. I actually did buy the bun de lat, which actually includes tofu and stuff, as well as some spring rolls, and I do believe this is fish sauce. So why not, I'm actually going to eat, and I'm going to see you guys at the hotel. Okay guys, I just returned to the hotel. It is now around 9:30 p.m. So why not, I'm just going to take a rest and do my walk. It has been a very long day. I've walked a lot. Even though this is not exact, I do believe I've walked at least 4 miles in Monaco alone. And if we were to add up Antibes, it would basically be about 6 miles total. I'm not even joking. I've walked that much today. So if you were to see all the rulers of Monaco, basically Albert II would basically be the current one. And Rainier III, which we actually see, was actually the late ruler, basically the parent to Albert II, I believe so. And much of them do belong to the House of Grimaldi. Basically, this house had ruled Monaco for quite a long time. In fact, it was actually founded in 1160 in Genoa, Italy. Yes, I'm not even joking. It's like a long time ago. That's a fun fact. So thank you for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos. I'm so exhausted now. I just want to go to sleep. And thank you for watching.